Hi, I'm George from Amateur Logic in the Ham College, and with me today is
Ray Novak, N9JA with Icom America.
Ray. It is good to see you over here in Mississippi, but you brought some of that Texas heat with you.
I think you guys already had it, and yesterday a little bit of thunderstorms. We're in a real dry spell right now.
Yeah, we were supposed to be shooting this on a Tuesday night. However, we're shooting it Wednesday morning because I was sitting in the dark here all afternoon and evening yesterday. But we're back now. We got the AC has been running in here, and temperature is bearable once again. Wouldn't be a good time for shooting out in the field for sure.
No, I recall sweating it out with the IC-705 and the antennas in the park, so
Yep.
not something I'd want to do today.
Yep. So, Ray, you brought a few new toys here.
Well, one new toy and one old toy. We're famous for doing shootouts when we introduce a radio with you and Tommy. But Tommy's not able to join us today. Miss you, Tommy. But what we have here is the new IC-T10 and the predecessor, the T70. I appreciate our technical support department loaning this one to us because I don't have one in my kit anymore. But both of them are very rugged radios. As a comparison, let's put the V86 and then the ID52 for size.
Okay, so these three are near the same size, maybe a little bit smaller here. 52 is definitely a little larger.
The screen is, but just a little bit taller in height.
Yeah.
We're looking at 2 meter only. The T70 was a dual band, one band at a time. The T10, exactly the same thing, 2 meter, 440, one band at a time. And then we've got the ID52, 2 meter, 440, analog as well as D-Star, and just a plethora of functions and features. Well, George, I'm going to remove the ID52 from the match because it was just really up there for size.
Yeah.
The T70 was known for being a very rugged, mil-spec, dual-band radio, very easy to operate. The functionality, you just punch in the frequency that you want. It would change bands as necessary. Very nice, solid audio, a lithium-ion battery pack, and just was a real solid radio. A lot of hams hated seeing it go away. It was one that was favored for Icom use because of the ability to program it on the fly. So it was a real good package that I hated seeing go. We ended up having to do the T70 Sport, which was the alkaline case. But just remove the V86 so we can just focus on the two radios. So as we look at the overhead, you can see there's not much difference in the size of the two radios, except the T70 looks a little bit thicker, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Which one do you think would have the bigger battery of the two?
Well, you would think the T70 there since it looks thicker.
Since it's got a fatter battery?
Yep.
The one thing about the T70 is the battery clip is a fingernail breaker. But that one is 1990 milliamp hour, 7.4 volts.
Pretty good sized battery.
Notice how much easier?
Oh, yeah.
And this one is a 2400 milliamp hour battery at 7.2 volts.
And that battery looks a lot lighter weight.
Yes, sir, it is.
But more capacity. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Quite a bit of difference between those two there. So, more capacity, less weight to carry around. I can't go wrong with that.
No, sir. I'll go ahead and put the battery back on it.
All right. You know you're holding something here when you're holding that. Now this feels much better. I mean, It's a little trimmer here. Your hand wraps around it better. Push to talk seems to be in about the right place. Now it's got some heft to it. This is not
It
a
feels
lightweight
very
Chinese
solid.
radio. This is a Japanese handy talkie here.
But do that again. Click that push to talk.
It's got a solid feel to it.
Yes, sir.
Little feedback. You hear it click, so you know you transmitted.
Now, one of the other things, and this is something that a lot of hams have debated about, was what's called phantom power.
Yeah.
And that is on a radio that has a microprocessor that you soft button turn it on and turn it off.
Mm-hmm.
It's always pulling current. The T10 has a switch on the top. A little old school there, but you don't have to worry about it in your go bag or your bug out bag with it depleting the battery. One of the other things, George, when you're looking at emergency communications, it's not always geared to be in daylight.
Yeah, that's true.
The T70, the buttons are a black rubber. There's no backlighting to them. But the T10 has backlit buttons.
Nice.
So you'll be able to get to see both the primary and the secondary function with the backlighting.
And that can make a big difference when you're out in the dark in the field somewhere.
It's not going to be bright enough to be a flashlight,
Yeah.
like some of the other radios out there have, but this is more of a communications tool, and you'll be able to operate with it. Going to take a tour around the side here. I don't have the cover on it for the speaker microphone. The speaker microphone on the T70 came off the top. It would just plug in from the top, where this has a cover that has two screws to hold it in place, or this speaker microphone will have two screws to hold it in place as well as keep it gasketed, so you now have a submersible radio. I've already pointed out about the speaker microphone on the top. You've got your volume and your channel selection. Here you've got your volume and an indented rotary encoder.
And
So you can tell when you change channels.
I kind of prefer that. I mean, you don't have to think about which knob you're grabbing. It's pretty obvious that's going to be the volume and that's going to be the rotary encoder.
Yes, sir. Also on the top, we have a home button. So if you're working communications at night, you don't have to look at the display. You just hit the button on the top and you know you go to your home channel. On the side, you have your set. And then you can step through your different settings. If you have somebody that you do not want them to be able to transmit, say a non-ham is helping in an event,
Right.
they need to be able to hear the communications on what they need to do, you can actually lock the push-to-talk on the T10.
Okay.
So it then could be just receive only. Things like mic gain, Vox control, Vox level. You can use wide or narrow for FM. So if you're using a narrowband repeater,
Mm-hmm.
you are able to operate through that. Your normal tones for your repeaters, as well as your coded squelch. Tuning steps, priority scan, normal scan, your scan pauses.
So this is a VHF UHF handy talkie, and of course we saw it had weather band on it. What's the coverage on this thing?
Well, you made a comment earlier about having the FM broadcast.
Okay, this one does.
So this one has the FM broadcast. It covers from 136 to 174 and 400 to 479.
Okay. Pretty good.
So
width.
it's got a
Yeah.
it's got a good wide range for receiving. So if you still have public safety communications on analog in the 400 or VHF, UHF range, you'll be able to monitor them.
That's good. Very good. I like the size of it, though. I don't have the biggest hands in the world, and this feels real comfortable.
Now, one major difference. The T70 has a DC connector for charging as well as operating the radio.
Okay.
To keep the rating for water and dust, there is no DC charge port on the radio. You can charge the radio in the desktop rapid charger that comes with the radio. That operates off a 12-volt DC. You can easily remove the battery, charge the battery only. While your battery's charging in the rapid charger, we have the AD149H, which is a battery eliminator that will run off a 12-volt DC.
Oh.
What that will do for the radio is offload your DC to DC converter, because that's going to generate heat to go from 12 to 14 volts
Right.
down to the 7.2 that the radio operates on.
Okay.
And that snaps in place the same way the battery does. One of the new features with the T10 is we utilize the radio design from our Lamb Mobile division. The circuitry is very similar to what we have in the F1000, and that has been a very popular radio for us for the commercial two-way side. Mentioned earlier about the channel selector, the home button, the volume control, the form factor, the battery. Let's go and take a look at the audio. As you can see, we're on weather channel number 2.
In effect until 8 p.m. Central Daylight Time, Thursday. What? Heat index values between 105 and 109 degrees.
That is loud.
Where? Northeast Louisiana.
Not
Southeast
only is it
Arkansas,
loud,
and much of Mississippi.
but there's some terrible AC hum on the weather station.
Yeah, there normally is here. I don't know if they're feeding it with a telephone line or what they're doing.
Now we will do the T10.
The dew point was 77, making relative humidity 72%, producing a heat index of 99. Winds for southwest at 7 miles an hour.
Louder,
Was 30.01 inches.
but the audio actually is
In Greenwood, skies were partly
a
sunny.
little more pleasant to listen to.
Yes, it is. We were talking about the thickness and the battery, and we've identified that the T10 has a higher capacity battery than the T70. I don't remember what our 5590 spec was for the T70, but for the T10, it's 11 hours.
Wow.
That gives you a good shift of operation and, again, keeps the size down. The water integrity on the T10 is IP67, so it has a waterproof rating, and it is mil-spec tested, not mil-spec or built to mil specification. It is mil-spec tested for 810 C, D, E, F, and G.
Wow. So I guess there's a lot of benefits this coming from the Land Mobile division as a basic building block.
Yes, sir.
This radio.
So we're looking at it being available from the dealers August-September timeframe. It's not shipping yet. We did introduce it at Dayton and said late summer for this product.
How many watts?
You've got 3 power settings. Your high power is 5 watts, mid power 2.5, and low power, I got to cheat, I'm sorry. It's hard to remember all of this stuff. It's
bet.
half a watt.
Okay, so really conservative there if you're sitting right next door or using a repeater or something you're right under.
Yes, sir.
This is an analog radio. It doesn't have D-Star, so I'm going to think this is going to, well, it's probably going to have a a lower price point than the ID52A.
It will. You're going to see it street price under $250.
Wow. Okay.
It's not the most economical radio out there when everybody is shopping from the various sites, but it is one that we feel that is going to be there every time you go to grab it in a bag.
Yeah, if you're looking for something rugged and just feels good in your hand, this is it. You say it was designed after one of the Land Mobile radios. I mean, this just looks more like a commercial product than an amateur product to me. It's just got that feel to it.
It's almost to the size where, with the belt clip, and sorry, I don't have the belt clip on it because not all of the radios had belt clips with them. That you can wear it right here.
Wow. So you don't have to have a speaker mic strung across you. Just hang the radio there.
Yep, and instead of the antenna poking you in the side and transmitting into your kidneys, it's right here and gets it higher, elevation higher. But yeah, it is right here in the head.
And you're going to hear it.
Yes.
I like it. It looks like a good alternative to what's on the market today. The price is good on it. The quality is good. The size.
And we feel it'll be the new ham second or third radio that they make the purchase when they really want to step up and be a lot more active in the hobby.
Yeah. And you think about 2,400 milliamps too. That's it's going to give you a good range on that thing. The IC-T10's external speaker and microphone jack cover is held in place by screws to ensure it meets the rigid IP67 dust and waterproof rating. It features a 2.5 millimeter mic jack and a 3.5 millimeter speaker jack. An optional OPC 478 UC-1 programming cable is available. When connecting an optional HM222 HLWP waterproof speaker mic, turn off the radio first and be sure to tighten the thumb screws to maintain the IP67 rating. Program your IC-T10 with Icom's free CS10 software. Get started by downloading the software at the link below. The new AD149H DC power supply is a perfect accessory. It allows you to operate your IC-T10 with 12 to 16 volts DC input. Adapter CP12L is designed to plug into a cigarette lighter for a longer mobile operation.
George, I greatly appreciate your time today to go over the T10 and look forward to doing more radios with you.
I only wish Tommy was here to see it and had the chain with him. Yeah, thanks, Ray. Looks like it's going to be another one of those great products that everybody's going to want.
We hope. Thank you.
73.